Boom.
Hey, we're live.
Hey.
And we're live.
My
Yes.
man, Chris, you son of a bitch.
We're live with the Lonely Marks here, coming with a special edition of Rankum, as you can see in the title. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. But I am not alone, despite what the title says. I am joined by my fellow Lonely Marks, and we have Jacob Cameron here as well. So we'll go to our special guest first. Jacob, how's it going?
It's going very well. It's great to be the Mark in training tonight, or MITT, MIT. But it's great to be here.
Well, the only criteria is you also have to be lonely. Are you currently lonely?
Very.
Okay, cool, excellent. So you're well qualified.
Yeah. Oh, some say overqualified.
All right. There you go.
We make an exception every once in a while, such as JP.
We seem to rotate that exception between all of us. It hasn't gotten to me yet, but I figure it will soon. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, every few months we get happy, and then
and then a crashing disappointment, as with everything else in life. Yeah. Hey, Malcolm, thanks for speaking of Rankum. Thanks for letting us borrow your show tonight. We appreciate it. Thank you.
So, speaking of lonely, JPO's here. JPO, how's it going?
Well, no, I'm the one that's not that lonely.
All right, you're the
current one that's not that lonely, right?
You're the plus one.
Although I did have to say I have to call you later because I'm starting this podcast, so maybe soon. Thanks. Shout out to Malcolm for letting us take this. This is my idea because of winning the predictions. I think this will be a fun discussion here. Might not be as heated maybe as later ones. We'll see how much we disagree on the 80s. We'll find out soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Pez, how's it going, sir? What movie did you see today?
I saw Tarot tonight because I make good use of my time.
I saw a tweet that said it celebrates the fact that it doesn't have a single original thought.
No, it wants to be Final Destination so bad. It's like Ouija meets Final Destination, and it has not a one original untropy concept going for it. But I will say it has two at least somewhat creative death scenes, but that makes it on par with the likes of maybe Night Swim. So if that gives you any indication on how good it is, there you go.
I'll wait till it hits streaming and maybe watch
it. Yeah, that's probably a good idea, unless you have Regal Unlimited like me and just see everything, because that's what I do with my life now. But
the only thing tolerable in Night Swim was Wyatt Russell, who somehow looked like Hangman Adam Page, and once you see that, you cannot unsee it.
God, bullshit.
A little bit. I know, especially crazy when he buckshot Larry did his own kid into the pool. It was a nutty spot. I was like, wow, hey, I'll pop for that. All right, extra point.
That was the start of his heel turn.
Yeah.
Speaking of heel turns, Richie's also here.
I don't know. If you buckshot Larry, the kid in the pool, that's a babyface turn. No, I like it. Anyway, hey, how you going? I'm here. This would be a good episode. I like Rankum. I like Pez. I'm also on here on Rankum a whole bunch of times. So I'm very familiar with the concept. And
a much better film, Malcolm. Much better film.
Challenges.
Despite me and Richie's initial harassment of the marketing, it was actually a really, really good movie. I can't deny.
I don't know whether to be disappointed by that, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I guess it can happen, every now and then. That's one of those things.
But look, we're glad to be here. How are you, Jacob? No one asked you.
I'm all right. My back hurts.
He's like blowing up the comedy world. What are you talking about? He's like on posters and shit now. Like, what the hell's going on?
Only in Lewis County, and only on.
He just started doing open mics, and he's already like on posters hosting shit. Like, what the hell? What happened?
I do get another profession.
Yeah,
I do have a gig in Seattle though in July. So fingers crossed that goes well.
No, eventually, by the time we all hang out together in Vegas, maybe we'll all have enough material to do like a whole Lonely Marks comedy night. That'd be fun.
Yeah, but he'll be head. Jacob will have like his own, his own like residence at Vegas. It'll just be open.
Jacob, can I get a guest spot?
Yeah.
You know, 5
I only have 5 minutes of material. I swear it'll only take 5 minutes. That's all I've written so far, so it won't take that long.
I can
Wait, Neil,
tell.
I was going to ask you the headline.
Oh,
I can
God.
tell all my
Right.
stories of working at a movie theater for 3.5 years.
Yeah, I did that too.
A lot of urine and a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Literally.
How's it going, Jonathan?
What Jonathan.
Hey.
Yeah, we'll kick it off like we usually do with some news, and unlike other episodes where we save the predictions for the end, we're going to save rank 'em for the end since that's probably going to take some time. But so yeah, Richie, you usually keep up pretty good in the world of news. So anything interesting catch your attention this last week?
We had the draft, which I guess the problem is it wasn't really newsworthy. It was the most lamest draft I've ever had. I think
where everybody coincidentally got drafted to the brands they were already on and doing storylines on. So that was a coincidence, right?
That's not a draft if you don't go anywhere. That's not a draft. I'm sorry.
I didn't watch any of it, but it seemed like it was the equivalent of them washing dishes that had already been through the dishwasher. But like they're clean, but like you didn't have to do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think that they moved over. Like just some of the, I guess the NXT things are interesting. That they moved over. Well, Kiana James, which is interesting. That she's I didn't think she's like a former tag champion.
Also, placement wise was very weird too, because why would anyone go Kiana over Lyra? You know what I mean? Yeah, we want the one-time tag champ for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
she wasn't available. She wasn't available to draft that day, was she? Is that why?
Probably not, but it's still.
I don't know. The way it just is, yeah.
I don't know. I don't think anyone's screaming out for oh, she's ready. She was she was heavily used. You know what I mean on the roster, but it's okay.
I think somebody must like her. Because that happened.
Yeah. The thing is that they did a thing where they tried to blur kayfabe. Kayfabe and shoot. So whenever they would cut to the NXT, that a lot of them, I'm guessing the majority of them didn't know that they were actually going to get drafted that day. So Kiana James got drafted, and she was just her. So she was generally shocked. So it was just weird seeing it out of character. And then probably about 15 minutes later, they show a video package of her being a bitch. And so it's okay, am I supposed to? I'm gonna have to boo her next week then. All right, cool. And then so that was interesting. Yeah, and so I guess the other NXTs was you got Lyra went to Raw. The only one that got a SmackDown hat. I mean, Carmelo went to SmackDown, but he was already there. The only one that got a SmackDown hat because
isn't Dijak getting the call up to Raw though?
Dijak went to Raw in a supplemental draft at the end of the thing. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm down to see Dijak on Raw.
It's a little free or something because supplemental, obviously, it's not as big as an Ilya call up as hey, look, on live big major TV, so it's a little worrisome. But hopefully, they'll do something with them.
But the only one who really got a SmackDown hat because Shawn Michaels is awkwardly hanging in that hat since Blair Davenport, who also the former Big Priestley, who also didn't seem like she knew she was going to be drafted, which is cool. I always thought that she was sort of ready, but I didn't think she was going to be drafted this year necessarily. But that's kind of cool. But
I'm not surprised by that. I mean, she's from AEW. She's been ready, so I'm not surprised.
And I mean, probably the least surprised was Ilya Dragunov. He was he was already there. I mean, it's I reckon he could have just
come with the title of him. Yeah,
I reckon he could have just come out on stage. But yeah, what was weird was when when Kiana, when Kiana, I know when Carmella Hayes got drafted, you have all the NXT people in the Performance Center, which is a lot of people, by the way. They got a lot of people under contract, but you see Trick going, "Yay, go Carmella!" I'm like, I don't know if you should. I don't know, man.
Didn't you guys break up?
Asking about Odyssey Jones.
Odyssey Jones got drafted to Raw again.
Oh man!
Not again with a free agent.
If any of you watched CWT last night, Odyssey Jones is like just he's not my friend right now.
But he was a free agent, but he was supposed to be on. I guess he was supposed to. Yeah, I don't know. I thought he was drafted to Raw initially, and then he got drafted again. I don't know, but I don't know if it's a running joke with him now. I don't know if he's going to get used. I kind of thought he might get released, to be honest, but yeah.
Well, I mean,
they released
it would have followed suit with Zion and the other one too. They were all free. Zion and Von Wagner were both free agents on the appeared in Battle Royal. So yeah, it honestly his name made sense as far as on paper.
And also, in what world?
Feel better, JPO. You sound sick.
I am. Yeah.
Oh,
you can hear it in me.
And in what world is Drew McIntyre a third-round draft pick? Come on.
Yeah, that
the disrespect.
Like there was
even Punk was drafted like after Gunther. It's like I don't know on paper is that like yeah Gunther's awesome, but I don't know.
There was like a meme I saw where it's Drew McIntyre's face, and the caption was "the look of a man who was drafted after Carlito."
Well,
I know they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
you got it. Sorry. Yeah.
And I like Carlito, but I mean, like McIntyre's been doing far more interesting things at the moment.
That's also the story though. So like that one tracks because that's part of the story. Drew was mad about that.
But they did the same story with a lot of them. The Bloodline didn't go till later.
Well, he's pointed out some of the factions that were kind of broken up. Damage Control, LWO a little bit.
I didn't feel like we were done with LWO Legato. I don't really feel like they had a big enough blow-off.
Yeah.
I mean, Damage Control wasn't really. I mean, the feud was separated from Bailey. Like the Damage Control wasn't broken up necessarily.
The feud was is what he's saying, Richie. The
feud was to get away from it. I assume to maybe have Dakota Kai be like another challenger for, and Asuka be another challenger for like Becky. But yeah, the majority. I guess the majority consensus is that they're just sort of stayed the same for the most part. I guess and in terms of if we took on topic of also releases, apparently Scripps is not getting his contract renewed. The former original
Reggie, let's move.
Reginald.
That's interesting. He still has his moments where he's kind of fun to watch in the ring. He's a former Soke Soleil guy, so he can kind of move and have some fun spots. But he's also, I think, kind of limited too in that area. To where like after you've seen it a few times, you're like, all right, cool. What else she got?
Yeah.
But and also to be fair with the draft, this is not the first year that the draft has sucked. There's been other drafts where it's been
I know
a lot of stays, a lot of replacements. WWE, they just likes to hype up their shows, and just like the Slammies usually kind of suck, or Raw 1000 a lot of time kind of sucks. Like, it happens.
It is interesting. I don't know if they've done this before, but like the first night of the draft went head to head with the NFL draft, which that's a proper draft. But it
was the second round, so it wasn't as interesting.
I
did like the fact that they brought some legends and some Hall of Famers back to announce draft picks, so that was pretty cool.
I don't mind that. I like that they were in the war room. Yeah, like I was cool with that idea.
I love that they got Teddy Long to announce the tag team match for Backlash too.
That was fun.
Hold on, Teddy. And then I don't know if he got distracted or what. He clearly and then Backlash, he clearly like looks to the offer. Like, is that my line? What? Okay, yes. Anywho, tag team player.
The only thing I'll say is one thing I'll say as well. It's funny how that. You remember when there was a bidding war for Bron Breakker to go to, and Nick Aldis got him to SmackDown, and then like literally like a month later, he just goes to Raw.
The whole back and forth thing. Yeah, 2 months before he goes to the other.
They drafted him first overall. He had the pick.
Yeah. The only other thing I found out right before we got on here actually is that Ethan Page's profile has been removed from AEW, so he might be gone.
That sucks, man. I've noticed before that, hasn't been on AWTV in a bit. Even Ring of Honor, like he was doing something like on there 2 pay-per-views ago, but then kind of trailed off since then. Had nothing to do with the last show. I wonder about Scorpio Sky too, because it seemed like Sky returned for the 4th time. He disappeared. I did notice Paige was doing a lot of he kind of blew up, kind of like Zack Ryder, and doing a lot of like toy vlogs and stuff like that. And then he went away for a while, and he's back to doing it, which gave me the inkling of, oh, he's back to trying to get his name out there. So I'm actually not too surprised to hear that, because I had that thought in my mind of like, why is he doing that again all of a sudden? Oh, because he's probably not going to have steady income for a minute.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan. I think there's a great story to be told in him going back to TNA, maybe doing some stuff with Josh, unless WWE wants him. Him and Josh always have a great tag team. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, they're a great tag team. You could easily have them A, re-team, or B, feud. Like that, I'd pay to watch them feud too, maybe for a minute. But so he's good. Credit to him if you've been watching for a while. Like he really upped his shape. If you look at him like 5-6 years ago, he had like a gut, like wasn't the greatest in shape. He upped it. It looks great. So excited for him. And it sucks too because I think his action figure is finally coming out. It's some weird time.
I'll always remember because I went to. I'll always remember going to Double or Nothing 2021. That was like the first big show where they had like a full audience, or about as full as one could get. It was Paige and Sky versus Sting and Darby Allin. That match was great. And they did the suplex on the stage, and Sting popped right back up. I'm like, all right, that's cool. so Paige will always have that, I guess. But always seemed like a really good hand. Like I remember seeing clips of him and Darby Allin and Evolve, and they just destroyed each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I became a fan of his.
Yeah, Malcolm's asking about the Uncle Howdy teases they've been doing, and then signing. Obviously, we heard about Eric Rowan getting signed.
Oh, that's big news. Yeah, Eric Rowan's supposedly re-signed, so that's definitely feels like they're wrapping up a sort of Bray Wyatt,
thing.
At least like tribute return, kind of thing as an Uncle Howdy. Maybe Alexa's ready. We don't know.
Braun Strowman just returned.
Braun's around again. If you want to have him. I know even Matt Hardy was like, "Hey, I'm also around," but he's with Impact. Just saying, Matt Hardy definitely threw his hat in the ring. Of course, you want that paycheck.
Matt did clarify though that he's not signed to Impact to TNA. He's just sort of, I think he's working on like a handshake.
He's one of those like handshake. I'm here for the next few shows kind of thing. Yeah, Impact does that a lot.
He could still show up for that story.
Yeah. It's interesting. I feel like they've been teasing that even if you watch the documentary on Peacock, highly recommended. I think we talked about it briefly. They seem to kind of hint that like his story is not done. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if that's what they're going for.
I could see someone like Joe Gacy being called up to be part of that maybe, because he's got a similar type of gimmick.
He's got a creepy gimmick, and he's kind of right now. His whole group's gone. Chris and Young Vets actually just had their AEW debut. I don't know if they're sticking around or not, but they're gone. His whole, Ava's now GM, so he's kind of in that weird kind of mix of like, what does he do now? So maybe.
Yeah, and he's good enough to be on the main roster now. I mean, he could have been called up all the while.
I mean, he's another guy, man. Like you look him up, like he's a CZW regular back in the day, Evolve again. Eddie Kingston, former Evolve tag champs, like he's been grinding at it for a minute.
So, but yeah, the only other obviously the thing about like Ethan Page, I was just going to say I love Man of the Year. I love Man of the Year. I thought they were a good tag team, and that theme song was awesome. I thought they could have done moments, man. I thought they could have done more with them. It was weird for me that they never really had any. The characters never expressed any desire to go after the tag titles. I was like, that'd be good, I mean,
it even took them a while to call themselves Men of the Year. Like they were just kind of Ethan Page and Scorpio for a while.
Yeah. So I mean that's all the news I can sort of think of this.
Yeah, there's not much besides that.
I did see Vegas. Vegas is the front runner again as far as rumors go for Mania. So we'll see. And
I mean, they need to make an announcement probably at least by Backlash and get some interest going.
I heard it soon.
Yeah,
at least according to the scuttlebutt.
Didn't Undertaker straight up say he heard it was Vegas?
He might have. I don't know.
I'd have to look that up. I don't know.
I just know. I just
what are
know
you gonna do to the Undertaker?
it's not even 2 hours old. Saying Vegas is again the front runner. You know, and we should find out soon as far as officially.
Well, I guess speaking of Vegas, they have announced matches for Double or Nothing. It's going to be Swerve versus Christian Cage for the which is
Christian Cage.
I'm just gonna it's gonna be I just assume it's gonna be a great filler feud before we get to Will Ospreay maybe.
Where's Christian in the rankings? Is he number one?
Oh yeah, where is he in the rankings? Yeah, I don't know.
Not number one. I don't want to see it.
Well, didn't Claudio get a title shot the other night, and he lost, to Will Ospreay last time he was on TV? So
I didn't bother bringing them back.
Yeah, rankings don't matter. Who gives a shit?
I learned the first time that you can't do that. You got to fly by the passenger seats because again, I'm not mad at Christian getting the title shot, but it does contradict your own rankings. So don't have them then. Fucking stop.
Yeah.
And it looks like Serena D versus Tony Storm as well,
which also kind of surprised me because I felt like they were done with the other stories yet, but I could see a big 4-way soon. I feel.
Yeah.
Isn't what's his name back? What's his name? Kenny Omega, something like that.
Oh yeah, him.
Didn't he come back?
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see where that goes.
He did, and he got attacked by the Elite, and that's really interesting. And to a much lesser extent, if Wes Lee came back on NXT. It is a decent.
Ray Phoenix is just back with no fanfare on Collision. Just back.
I guess because
he returns this week.
Yeah, because I guess Wes Lee was dealing with an injury that could have been he could have apparently retirement was definitely a possibility. So it's good that he was able to not only come back.
I didn't know it was that bad.
Yeah, not only come back, but come back earlier than expected. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And he jumped from the barricade to the steps, and I'm like, oh, I hope this doesn't go wrong.
Yeah, jeez. Yeah. But yeah, return. Yeah, Ray Phoenix unfortunately comes back all the time. I guess that's probably why it's I don't know, not many fanfare. I don't know. But yeah,
that was gonna be my kind of rebuttal to that was. I feel like he hasn't was gone that long, and he's also kind of been back and forth anyway. Where I kind of get why maybe you don't have to make a big deal about it. Tony's defense, because they asked about it, I think in a scrum or somebody's interviewed him about that, and he's like, "Well, it just kind of happened last second. Ray finally got cleared sooner than we thought he would, and he's like, "Can I wrestle?" And I was like, "Sure."
Yeah, I think as far as the returns go, I think that's
Roosh technically, but again, I feel like he's returned twice.
He's been returning for a while now.
Yeah, so I don't even want to I didn't even want to mention that because they told it as a return, but I'm like, he also returned a few months ago for the classic for the Continental thing, so whatever.
Yeah. So yeah,
seems like that's about it. It should probably get to the predictions, so because we got a lot of rankum to do later. So
there's
not much else. Yeah, we're 20 minutes in.
Yeah,
only 5 matches, right?
Only 5 announced. We talked a little bit off air. Yeah, we doubt maybe more than I hope one more because 5 is palsy. Come on, AEW overdoing maybe WWE are underdoing it. Find the middle ground. But only 5 will. I don't really have them in any particular order. We got the women's tag that was on the line. Jade Cargill with a big match with Blanca Belair taking on Asuka and Kairi Sane. Jacob, who you got? New champs or retaining champs?
I'm sorry.
Sorry, just starting at the top. Jacob, I'm not used to there being 2 Jacobs here.
Right. So I think we're gonna see new champs. I think this is the start of a long-term story where eventually maybe next year's Mania we see Bianca and Jade face off. So I think yeah, and I still think it's too early for Jade to lose. She's been portrayed as this big star, so I've got new champs.
Richie, you agree or you against?
Yeah, I actually do agree. And the only if it was see it going the other way is if maybe Bianca gets a pin and Jay gets annoyed, but I don't think they do that this quickly. I think they're setting up new champs. I think because the big thing of like the women's champs get to be on both brands. I think they're really high on Jade. They want her. They clearly want her on both shows. So I think that we're going to get new champs here.
Yeah, I mean, I could see a world where, maybe you turn Jade heel, Bianca going for the tag, she jumps out from the ropes, or they butt heads for some reason. Because you could always go with, well, Jade's never lost in a singles match. You could have maybe a world where that is, but yeah, I will be the third to say, I think we're just simply going to have new champs, put Jade over strong, put a title on her. She a nice tag team to debut her in. That way, she's not really doing the whole workload, because I still think she's got a little bit of work to have to be had. So yeah, Jacob C. You can chime on in. What do you think?
I think Jade and Bianca win. I think, and also to your point, I think they win and then they do a run for a while and then they split off and then do their own thing. And then I'd say maybe some point down the road, I can't exactly say when, but you have Jade versus Bianca one-on-one if they're even comfortable with doing it at that point. I could just be tilting at a windmill, but that's what I was thinking about. So I say new champs.
Bez, agreement, or you're gonna go against us?
No, I feel like we're gonna have this is gonna be one of those pay-per-views where we're gonna have to come up with some extra stuff for extra points because I feel like it's gonna be fairly predictable all up and down the card. As with most Backlash are, which is not necessarily like a bad thing. Sometimes you gotta just kick some things off, get some things moving, get some stuff rolling, establish some people. And yeah, I don't see Jade Cargill losing anything anytime soon. And it could be a fun tag team for a little while until they inevitably feud down the road.
God, Jade Cargill's hot. Anyway,
she's just okay, to be honest with you.
I mean, I think the last Backlash last year didn't have that many matches either. They all got some time. We could have Angle, somewhere thrown in there.
Honestly, all the women in this match, honey,
honey. I never heard that.
I've never heard that phrase, but sure, whatever, Jacob. I'll be honest with you. I don't think this match will go that long, so I don't think I think it'll be given enough. But I don't see this match going more than 10. I could be wrong.
We need time for a lingerie pillow fight between
let's bring that back to Miller Catfight Girls.
I was literally
we got the debut of Solo Sikoa's. What is he called? Tamatanga is MTF.
What does MTF mean?
I don't know what that means.
Mother tucking friend. Like, yeah, I have no idea. They have not said. I don't think they have. But anyway, Sikoa and the debuting Tamatanga as far as wrestling wise goes with Kevin Owens, my cousin, and Randall Keith Orton. Richie, what you think?
Oh, by the way, I'm wearing your cousin on my chest.
Hey, more money for the family.
That sounds dirty. What's wrong with Randy Orton?
Oh, that's his Steve. That doesn't count.
Yeah. Well, what's wrong with Randy Orton's eyes in that photo? It's fucking weird. Anyway, I feel like these.
He was hanging out with Matt Riddle.
These latest pictures are weird. Kim Nolan's eyes are weird as well. Again, like Pez said, I think it's just going to be a prediction where we're just going to have to come up with different, kind of stakes to find a winner. Because I don't think you have the Bloodline lose at this point. I think it will kill their momentum. I wouldn't be surprised if Jacob Fatu gets involved in this match, someone Jacob, like something like that happens. So I think the Bloodline wins. Actually, I'm actually liking what Solo's been doing. I think he's been pretty good in his role as like sort of this pseudo leader at this point in time anyway, and then until Jacob comes in. A lot of Jacobs, I think you don't cut him off the knees. So I'll go with Bloodline.
Yeah, we might need some tiebreakers here because I think the easy money will be on Bloodline here again to play the other field here. Fun fantasy booking. I think I'm gonna steal this from Cultaholic. Jacob Fatu appears, and then it takes out Solo and Tama, and you find out he was sent from Roman Reigns, and we have Bloodline and Bloodline fighting, but probably not because I think Solo Sikoa needs to just continue to look strong. as like the new de facto leader here. Tama Tonga is debuting. You want to make him look strong. Like it'd be weird to just have him lose. It'd be really weird if either one of them took the pin. Like both of them don't need to lose right now. What do you got, Jacob? See.
I think the same thing. I think, are we calling him the new bloodline? Let's go with the new bloodline. I think
It's
the new bloodline versus the millionaires bloodline.
It sounds very WCW 2000.
New Bloodline Rising.
I made that joke literally like after they debuted. I'm like, oh, this is very new blood millionaires club going on here. I think a little Russo.
But I think as it sits now, I think Randy Orton is a made man at this point, but I think Kevin Owens has gotten to made man status. He's been with the company going on 10 years at this point, so I think they can afford to take the loss here. So I think Tama Tonga or MTF, I think that's his name, and Solo, I think they're going to win.
All right, Pez, what you think?
Ditto. I mean, yeah, you don't have Tama lose in his first big match here, and yeah, Solo they're positioning as this kind of new de facto leader. Yeah, you want to turn a corner on him, make him look strong as well. And yeah, I also predict Owens takes the pin here, probably from Tonga or Tama. Yeah, from Tama.
All right, Barbara, come on, get a point. Vote against us.
No, same.
Well, get your ones up. We're thinking the bloodline. We're agreed. For again, will we change on any of these?
No.
This one we could, maybe.
And you guys thought I was crazy saying Naomi was going to challenge for the title on pay-per-view.
Well, she got in for the triple threat match. Naomi and Tiffany Stratton challenging current champion Bayley for the SmackDown, just the WWE Women's title, I think. Not the
WWE Women's title, yeah.
Yeah, I gotta remember. One that has a world, one just has the company. Cool. Damn. I gotta remember to like fix these in order of where I want to go. But I never know where I'm gonna be on the left, so never mind. Because I'm not. This is the only one that I think is questionable here. I don't see Naomi taking it, especially off of Bayley. Tiffany. I think there's a chance Tiffany takes this. Maybe because it is her first big major defense here, though, I will go the kind of the easier route of saying Bayley retains here. I think we've seen in the past, too, maybe kind of a comparison is Julia Hart. You know, she challenged for it, didn't win the first time, got it the second time. So, you know, Tiffany could be the one. I think taking off Bayley down the line, but because it's her first defense, I'll say Bayley ekes it out, but I'm questionable here. Jacob Z?
I think Bayley's gonna win. She literally just won it in Mania, so like it'd be rather odd to parlay it onto either Tiffany or Naomi. I mean, not dissing either one of them. They're both really good. They're really good talents, but Tiffany just got on the main roster, so it's a little soon. And so I just don't know. I think Bayley just makes the most sense to me.
Pez, do you hey want some Bayley?
You know what? Let's be bold. I'll go Tiffany Stratton. Why the fuck not? You know what? If I'm gonna go all or nothing on this shit, you know, and like I'm the smart money's probably on Bayley, but you know, it's just Backlash. It's fine. Like, you know, like she's probably gonna retain. But you know what? If I'm gonna win this damn thing, let's win it in style and say we make a new star here. And do something a little unpredictable and have Tiffany steal that pin from Bayley. Or maybe she just pins Naomi and Bayley doesn't technically lose her title and we get a feud going here. So you know, it is triple threat rules. So you know what? Fuck it. I'll be the one. I'll take Stratton here. Why not?
Hey, there's logic to that heel getting that sneaky win whenever it comes to triple threat. Barber, we're a little split. What you thinking?
No, I think Tiffany eventually wins, but that's when she cashes in Money in the Bank. I'm booking ahead. But I think first defense. As much as I would love to see Tiffany Stratton be the champ, I think Bayley does retain by pinning Naomi, kind of, you know, keep Tiffany looking a little bit stronger, which sucks for Naomi because she returned and it's like, hey, we're just going to have you lose the big ones.
In the same position you were in before you left.
But
It's better to be on TV than not be on TV. So
Exactly. Yes. I mean, at least she's got a batch. I mean, it's their first time in France.
And she's probably a lot happier, to be fair, than she was.
Also,
especially her husband traveling with her.
Yeah, I guess that. I was thinking Wallet. You're thinking Love. Yeah.
Is Jimmy traveling?
Also, you heard Barber say when it comes to Money in the Bank, we're skipping him for the women's match because he says Tiffany. Even if she's not in it, I'm still skipping her. Your prediction
is Tiffany. Not be in it.
Good. Yeah, it's locked. It's locked.
That's not how it works. We all booked WrestleMania 40 last year, and none of us got it right, and we still did the predictions.
Touche. Richard, what you got?
Yeah, so there's one looming factor that makes me question things, which is Nia Jax, because Nia Jax attacked Bayley, which I don't know, because it'd be weird if that was. I was a bit kind of I don't know. I questioned why they would set up a feud in the middle of another feud. If it could kind of, to me, telegraphs it might telegraph the winner here, unless Nia Jax doesn't, maybe just has a beef with Bayley and just wants the cost of the match. I don't know, but so is that I think logic. It's more likely going to be Bayley, but to make it things interesting, and I think the more likely person to win out of these three that's not Bayley is Tiffany Stratton. So given that there's a Nia Jax factor, I think she gets involved somehow, and I think Tiffany. I think maybe they're aligned somehow because she was. Tiff was at Raw watching a Nia Jax match, so maybe she's like her henchman or something. So maybe she helps Tiff get the win here. So I'm going to go Tiffany Stratton.
All right, so we're a little split here. We got a couple of votes for new champ, Tiffy time. Bayley will retain. We all agree. Thanks for coming. And to be fair with Nia Jax, I think sometimes I kind of always just got the vibe of like she hates just whoever's above her champion wise. So I don't know if it's a specific Bayley thing, but definitely possible. One-on-one for the world heavyweight, champion wise specifically. I feel like she also. I know. I'm just World Heavyweight Championship. Damian Priest, Jay Uso.
Yep.
Yeah.
I still struggle.
We all do.
Jacob Cameron, what you thinking?
Kind of same thing with Bayley. I think Priest just won. I feel like there's a Drew McIntyre program just sitting there waiting to happen. So I say Priest wins.
There's 0% chance Jey Uso wins the World Heavyweight title tonight. Damian Priest.
Barbara, do you agree with 0% and in general?
I don't agree with 0%, but I'm still not going to pick him. I don't think Jay. I don't think Priest has a long run, but I don't think he loses it in his first defense. I think, later on down the line, he'll lose it fairly soon. But nah, give him one defense at least.
When's Clash of the Castle coming up pretty soon? Yeah, that's about how long I give him till.
That's what I'm saying. The Priest McIntyre feud is right there.
Yeah.
I think Punk will cost him that match too.
No, I think. See, okay, I'll
take it away, Richard.
Yeah, I'll. I'm just gonna. Damian Priest is gonna win, but I think he's gonna hold it till Clash of the Castle, where Drew's gonna beat him. But I think they'll probably have some stipulation where maybe CM Punk, isn't allowed to interrupt or something. There'll be something because obviously Drew's not done at this point. He'll know that there's that CM Punk looming. So if he lets CM Punk get the best of him now, it'd be kind of like. He'll kind of look very dumb. So I think there'll be some stipulation there where Punk can't get involved maybe until after the match. And that will set up maybe a championship feud, potentially maybe at Rumble or maybe WrestleMania. Who knows? Or maybe SummerSlam, more likely. So Yeah, but I'll go Damian Priest. I don't think he. Hey, I don't mind if Jey Uso wins a title maybe one day down the line. He's getting really over, but not now.
I'll be brave and say Jay. No, I'm just gonna have no way of fucking say Jay.
No.
No. Here's the even more than Bailey. Bailey has been a champion before, so I definitely see a realm where Tiffany gets because Bailey is kind of solidified already as a champion and could get it back sooner or later. Damian, and spoiler alert for our next match, Davis is Damian's first title, as a world title. It would be so shitty if they took it off him right now. If this exact match with Jay was 2 months from now, 3 months from now, I'd say there's a chance because Jay is over, but it's his first offense. Like, I agree that I don't necessarily see it being a mega long reign. I wouldn't be surprised if it was summer, if not less, but I don't see it being the first one. Give him a win. You got bloodline stuff going on too on the side, so I think Jay's not maybe totally done with that. So yeah, I think Bruce retains. We're all in agreement that as much as we might love the Yeet Man, Judgment Day runs Backlash, kind of. So, and then finally, only one more match. We got Cody Rhodes defending the undisputed whatever title with AJ Styles. Hopefully the match will be phenomenal, but as far as predictions go, yes.
With the wind blowing in AJ's hair.
What luscious hair that he's got. Oh my god.
Right?
Look, hair right there.
We all love AJ, but as I just said, AJ has a 0% chance of walking out of France as the champion over Cody, who is going to be champion for quite some time.
Barber.
Hey, did you guys know that Cody Rhodes' dad is Dusty Rhodes?
You don't say.
Why? I thought it. Oh, really?
Not out there. And he didn't have a year-long story to lose a month after he won.
To the guy who just lost to LA Knight a month ago.
It should.
Yeah.
And I lived 26, nearly 27 years of my life thinking Dusty Rhodes only had one son.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. So yeah, no.
Cody was the mistake, as The Rock said, though. So I mean, it doesn't really count.
I'm not going to think Cody's title reign is in jeopardy for at least 10 or 11 more months.
Richie.
The Rock also pisses in bottles on sets allegedly, so you can shut up. Yeah, I mean that story is kind of funny. But yeah, look, I think AJ's in that position now where like he's still remarkably good for his age, but he knows, he's said in interviews that like, look, I don't have long left in my career, but he's always reliable to have that really good match. These two surprisingly haven't wrestled each other. That's sort of what the feud is built on. They haven't locked up yet, even though they've sort of traveled in similar circles. They're both like former Bullet Club guys. But yeah, there's no. I don't. AJ's not putting here to win. It's just a sort of fill a feud until we probably. I mean, I'm guessing we might get a rematch with Roman at SummerSlam, maybe. But yeah, I don't know. I don't see Cody losing it anytime soon. So yeah, Cody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just double checking something here real quick. Yeah, actually, I don't think these two. Wow, even a Rumble wise, was AJ not in this year's Rumble?
He was in the four-way.
He was in the four-way.
Okay, and last year he must have missed last year's too.
Yeah, he was in the WWE Championship match again, I think, last year as well.
These two have never been in the ring together. Holy shit!
Like, even in like championship matches,
a true first time ever. What?
Yeah, no, like not even like a 6-man. Like not
way
a
to
Rumble,
go! Way to go, Frank!
Battle Royal, so
yeah.
I was only saying that because on paper, I'm totally down for this match here. I love the fact that AJ's kind of been revamped a little bit. I thought he was going to win against LA Knight because I did predict this, but instead he lost. I still got this right. So I thought that is kind of weird that he is coming off of non-momentum, even though he won that mini-ass tournament, which is whatever. But yeah, there's even less of a chance than I see Jey Uso. Because at least Jey Uso would be like a fresh new win again, where AJ, maybe down the line we see him as champ again. I'm definitely not against it. I love AJ. I think he has more in the tank. But Cody again, yeah, we just did the whole build up. We don't even have to go on. It's Cody. Jacob C, you want to complete the Codys?
Yes, and I want to caveat it by saying if I ever did like greatest of all time, like my favorites of all time, AJ would definitely be in the conversation. He's one of my all-time favorites. But I mean, Cody just won. It makes no sense to take the title off him now, so Cody's winning.
It wouldn't be Stardust.
That's Eastern. It'll be 10 o'clock in the morning for me.
Yeah. I worked out what time it is here when Backlash goes live. So yeah, I'm definitely watching it later. It's going on at 3 a.m.
I'm going to be at work when it's happening, so I have to watch it later in that evening. So yeah, I don't have a choice. I'm going to be at work at 1:30 in the afternoon or whatever time it starts. Yeah. All right. Well, what else are we doing in case of some tie situations? We doing our opening match gimmick? We doing some times? What are we doing here? Are we doing anything else?
I
think the opener is not really set. I think there's a couple of options here.
We could do the opener.
Yeah.
And look what. If Jacob Cameron wins the predictions, I guess you'll have to come back. You'll have to come back again, Jake,
and pick a topic.
I didn't think his predictions counted, but all right, I just thought that was so fun.
Well, wait a shit on our guest. For fun. All right.
No, I just saying like we do that. I
mean, you can participate, but you don't really count. Like,
No, I didn't mean like that.
I didn't mean like that. I mean, like, hey, like, you guess you, like, yeah, it would be kind of, it would be kind of cool. Anyway, I didn't mean to frame it negatively.
Or what he could do to spite you and the rest of us is pick something shitty for us to watch, and we have to watch it because he picked it.
Yeah. Well, I feel like only Austin's done that so far. I mean, I actually know. I've done that. I made you watch the NWO the WCW pay per view.
Sold out. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So anyway, Jey Uso and Damian Priest are going to open up the pay per view.
Okay.
I did. Yeah. Was that your prediction, or was that what?
That's my prediction. That's
doing the opener.
Sorry, I thought you said
we just talked about.
That's going to be my opener.
Okay.
Richie.
All right. We'll cut that one.
What? At least two of us are going to match because ain't nobody picking Cody and AJ to.
No,
obviously.
They're not going to open. Well, that means we all got the. Well, I mean, if no one's going to pick that, we'll all get the closer. Maybe.
Taking too long. Pez.
No.
I will say the women's triple threat opens up. That's my prediction.
Richie.
There's only 4 to pick from. Just pick one.
All right, Christ.
It's not like you got 10 matches on an AEW pay-per-view to pick from. It's 4 matches. Pick one.
The women's tag title. What?
Okay, thank you.
Jacob Cameron.
Priest versus Uso. That's my choice.
Okay. Let me think about this.
3 weeks later.
I'm just kidding. That was the joke, goddammit. I actually agree with Richie. I'm going to say the women's tag titles.
Okay, women's tag. Okay. All right, cool. Or at least that's different enough to where that would break some kind of tie. So there you go. Because even me and Richie, who went Tiffany, have a different opener. Unless we both whiff on that.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Well, yeah. Well, at least us going different with that breaks it to where there won't be more than 2 winners. You know what I mean? So yeah. So yeah, there you go. It won't be a massive 4-way tie or whatever. So sounds good. All right. Well, let's get to our main event here, and not our opener. Let's get to little Rankum here on Lonely Marks. Jacob, I'm just gonna flip you because that's the order you guys came in anyway. So it was about pretty much Richie, JPO, and the 2 cameras showed up about the same time. So that's the way I'm gonna do it. Go like Malcolm is. I'll start with Richie, work our way around the circle. I'll go last. But yeah, this is gonna work exactly how it does with Malcolm. So we're gonna go around the horn. The topic is, I'm assuming singles wrestlers. Yes, JPO. Male singles wrestlers.
You can shoot your shot, but yeah, I would imagine because we're kind of talking individuals. So,
you could do another one down the line where we do tag teams. I think you could do the same concept.
That makes sense too.
Yeah. So
that would be a fantastic one.
Yeah, that could, and that's one where you could definitely throw some debates in there and whatnot. It's good stuff. But tonight, yes, it'll be the topic will be we'll come up with a top 12 of singles male wrestlers from the 80s and before. So anything before the 80s as well. So we'll go around the horn. Everybody get a chance to nominate someone, make your case. We'll go around. Everybody will vote either yes or no for whatever reason or not. Majority rules. So if you get 3 votes, it gets added to the list. And once it's filled up with 12 nominations, and that it will cut off there. We'll mention a few honorable mentions if you have any, and then we will commence to writing down, starting with number 12, what we think the actual order should be. And I have banners ready for that a little later. But yeah, I mean, it works like Rankum. I think we've all been on Rankum, so we know how it works. But yeah, that's how it's going to go. So I did it just like Malcolm. So literally the order you guys got here. So Richie was here first, so he's going to go first, then JPO, then we'll keep swinging around Jacob Cameron, Jacob Barber, and myself. So yeah, let's kick it off, Richie, with your first nomination.
All right. I mean, yeah, that's I mean, sometimes people like to go the less obvious ones, but I will probably I'll just take kind of obvious one here. One of the biggest stars in wrestling history. I'm gonna go. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go Macho Man Randy Savage. I think he, definitely his, glory days, because in the 80s, he was, I reckon, ahead of his time. Had banger matches with like Ricky Steamboat. Just all around, phenomenal entertainer. And so over, and one of the biggest, best sort of characters in wrestling. So yeah, Macho Man.
All right, JPO, got a little Macho Man on the table. Yes or no?
No, big yes for me here. One of those rare wrestlers in the 80s that I think checks off every box. Match quality is up there usually. Character, promo, look, absolutely.
All right, that's a yes, Mr. Cameron. Yes or no?
I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, Mach is just a no-brainer for this guy.
All right, Mr. Barber.
See, I don't know a lot about the old days of wrestling, but I do know a little bit about Macho Man, and yeah, between his his world title reign, his IC title reign, and that match with Steamboat is still considered one of the best WrestleMania matches, and that was 37 Manias ago, and it's still up there. But not just that, like he's got several others too. Now, if this was the 90s, I'd have to say no because he tried to pin Yokozuna in the Royal Rumble match, but thankfully it's not. So I can say yes.
Yoko was kind of gassed, and there was like the whole thing of him being like 450 pounds. So like there were factors at play.
Well, as for me, I'll make it a clean sweep here, and I'll say yes for Randy Savage, one of the most colorful personalities. Obviously, he worked both as a face and a heel, and was very over as both. And I mean, come on, near the end of the '80s, you had the Mega Powers and the Mega Powers exploding. I mean, that was a huge feud that got everybody interested. So I'm down with the Macho Man being on the list. So that will make the list. I'll put them in the private chat as they make the list, as Malcolm does. So Macho Man Randy Savage will be the first to make this list. JPO, your concept, your show, you are up for your first nomination, sir.
Wait, who exploded in the 80s?
Oh, the Mega Powers? Were you going to bring up?
Let's bring them all. Say what you will about some of the dumb shit he said later in the years, or just all the lies and the mistakes that he's had, where he's in Wembley in '92 and all that he's going to be the guitarist for Metallica. Let's ignore that. Talk about the wrestling boom. He's the major guy of the 80s. He's the reason WWF got such a high level here. Saturday Night Live, movies, Hulk Hogan, he's got to be on the list.
Yeah, Mr. Cameron, do you agree? Hulk Hogan.
100%. That's another one that is just a no-brainer. If no one else picked him, I was going to pick him.
So there you go. Mr. Barber, yes or no to Hulk Hogan, the immortal?
Yeah, again, say what you want about some of the stuff he did later on. You can't think of 80s wrestling and not think of Hulk Hogan. So yeah, it's it's a pretty easy yes.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely going to say yes. I will just recommend a video if you have 30 minutes to kill. Look up Jim Cornette, Hulk Hogan lies, and it's Brian Last, and it's Brian Last just listing off from this Twitter thread all of Hulk Hogan's lies over the years, and Jim Cornette reacting to all of them. It is absolutely hilarious. All the things he claimed, the places he claims he was, the things he claims he did, what he was going to do, things like that. It's very, very funny. But yeah, despite all that, I mean, my God, the man was the most recognizable wrestler in the 80s, recognized worldwide. And I mean, Hulkamania was running wild. There is no denying that in the 80s. So yeah, he kind of has to be on here. Richie?
He claimed he was up for like 25 hours or something once. It's like, I don't know, because of like time zones and stuff. That was interesting.
Oh, he claimed he worked 400 days in 1 year.
400 days. That was it. Yeah. That was it. Yeah.
Because of the time differences.
That was fun. Yeah.
That's not how time works.
Yes.
You're not Doctor Who.
And despite all that, despite the fact that he said that he would have made the major leagues, but he broke his arm. Despite that, you can't. This can't be an 80s list without putting Hulk Hogan in there. He's one of the he's probably the most famous wrestler ever. He's a reason, it got, he was the impetus behind that, the rock and wrestling kind of movement. And yeah, he's just one of the more colorful personalities. I don't think wrestling is not where it is today. I think without people like Hulk Hogan and having that special connection with the crowd. And yeah, so yeah, I'll say absolutely yes to Mr. Nanny.
All right, so Hulk Hogan with another clean sweep there.
Hulk Hogan was supposed to beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania this year, but
he turned it down, Jacob. He turned the offer down. Yeah. They offered it to him, and just he didn't want to hog the spotlight.
They wanted him to be in Bullet Club, despite no one in Bullet Club saying that was ever discussed.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to our special guest and our resident tiebreaker for the evening, so we don't have to go to chats and wheels. Mr. Cameron, what is your first nomination here on Rankin tonight?
So my first nomination is
the
Nature Boy Ric Flair. I mean, regardless of if we're going WCW or his later run, it doesn't matter. Ric Flair is Ric Flair. He could literally carry anyone to a good match. So Ric Flair is my choice.
All right, Mr. Barber, the Nature Boy is on the table. Yes or no?
This is a tough one. But yeah, I think if you think of wrestling in the 80s, yeah, Hulk Hogan is one of the first names that pops up. Ric Flair is the other one. Yeah, he's had countless classics in the 80s. He's one that honestly we could bring up for the 90s as well. But if you argue that the 80s was his peak, you're not gonna get a quarrel from me. So it's a pretty easy yes as well. I think these first three have all been kind of no-brainers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, this is a no-brainer as well. If Hulk Hogan was the face of the WWF, obviously Ric Flair was the face of the NWA. In the 80s, he made that championship kind of a spectacle as well and became, the most flamboyant star over there and whatnot. But he could back it up in the ring. Yeah, I mean, what's there to say? I'm a massive Ric Flair fan. And yeah, he main evented damn near every Starrcade or Clash of the Champions or what have you, pretty much all throughout the 80s, and made a lot of stars doing it. So yeah, no, easy yes for Ric Flair. Richie?
He's one of the only people who can say he main evented in North Korea.
I mean, yeah,
in front of people that didn't know what wrestling was.
That in front of people who had to be there.
Yeah, who were forced by the state to be there and watch wrestling.
Go watch that episode.
Yeah, that's a wild episode. Yeah.
But yeah, again, kind of like the last two we mentioned, that you have to have Ric Flair on this list. I think he's just one of those colorful personalities, and the dude is just a legend. And we watched we obviously watched recently Ric Flair versus Sting. That match so holds up. That match is great. He had, and obviously he had the barn burners with guys like Ricky Steamboat, Macho Man, who's mentioned before. And just one of the best on the mic and in the ring. Just endlessly entertaining. So absolutely yes.
JPO, care to make it a clean sweep for the dirtiest player in the game?
I suppose. Yeah, no, I mean, unless Barber goes for like SC Jones, I figured everyone's first round picks are going to be kind of unfightable, undeniable. So yeah, 100%.
All right. Well, nothing but clean sweeps so far. We'll see if we have any dissension, but getting a few of the obvious ones out of the way, but that's no big deal. Mr. Barber, your first nomination here for the 80s and before.
Yeah, we've got Hulk Hogan, and I'll go with the one of the guys he faced at that first WrestleMania, and I'll go Roddy Piper. I think between the in ring and then the mic work, I think he's just one of the best heels. He could get some cheers too, but like when he was a heel, oh man, like he was so easy to hate, and he made it look easy. So I'll go with Roddy Piper as my first nomination.
Yeah, no, I think I'll say yes to Roddy Piper. I think he was one of the most recognizable heels from around that time in the 80s. Yeah, again, not maybe the greatest worker in the world, and unfortunately was never heavyweight champion. One of those guys who you kind of wonder why he wasn't at some point. But still, even then, yeah, one of the biggest personalities in wrestling. Yeah, whether it was just him cutting promos on commentary, Piper's Pit obviously was a big deal, and one of the first big kind of interview segments to really make it out there. Yeah, I mean, one of the most recognizable guys of the 80s, so I think you kind of have to say yes to Roddy Piper. Richie?
Yeah, they definitely have to say yes. I just, again, one of the best guys on the mic. Yeah, he just knew how to elicit emotion from the crowd. Look, and I mean this definitely mean this with love, but the dude was a live wire, definitely a nutcase in the best sense of it. But where like you had no idea what he was going to say when he was on the mic. It was maybe it was a gamble when you gave a hot mic to him, but yeah, like he was always entertaining. Yeah, like he'd always sort of elevate feuds with him involved. I always thought like they even teased giving the title and like later on like in WCW, and they never did it, and they even like they I mean yeah. We'll talk. We might talk about that booking maybe if we do the night. Later on. But like that was like such a tease. It was not unfair. But Roddy Piper definitely deserves it. And one of the all-time greats. So absolutely.
That doesn't work for me, brother.
JPO, what do you say about Hot Rod? Oh, hey, me a little meeting of the minds there on stage.
Something tells me he's saying yes.
Yes, I think so.
He was a dick.
Well,
you're muted.
You're muted though, so we can't hear what you're opening. But yeah,
I was just too excited.
Okay.
No, it's another absolute yes here. He had some good moments in the ring, but that character work, the mic work, the next level. Like he could get over the 90s, 2000s. He was always such a fun talker. One of my favorite on the mic of all time. So I'm gonna go big yes.
Mr. Cameron, you're gonna make Hot Rod another clean sweep here?
I mean, yeah, this is another resounding yes. And there are some who claim like Roddy Piper is just a promo, and he was very good at that. Let's not get that twisted. But I recommend you all watch Roddy Piper versus Greg Valentine at Starrcade 83, the dog collar match. It is brutal. Like, even not just by 83 or standards or whatever year, it is a brutal match, and Piper just absolutely crushed it there. So he was never just a promo. He could go when he absolutely needed to. So I mean, of course it's going to be a yes.
Yeah,
I'm gonna check that match out too. Yeah, that's a great bloody match.
Yeah, no, that match is awesome. I forget what compilation that was on. Was that on?
Probably Starrcade is what I saw it on.
Yeah, something like that. But I remember, thinking it was. It was. They beat the shit out of each other in that match. That match is great.
There's a great promo with him and Flair beforehand on one of the Mid-Atlantic TVs where like Piper's got like handcuffs around and is like, "Oh, Valentine, like I've lost an ear, like I'm half a man." Well, you went running, and he's got like a baseball bat and he's flipping it around. Like, it's an awesome promo. You all should check it out if you haven't.
Yeah. All right. We're around to me. Well, maybe I'll be that asshole that goes in the time machine and nominates Bruno Sammartino. I think he kind of needs to be on this list if we're going again 80s and before. You kind of have to acknowledge, even Roman Reigns would have to acknowledge the man who still holds the record for the longest title reign, holding it for damn near a decade or so. Being the face of the wrestling probably in the 70s, and the most recognizable guy that carried the WWF at the time. Multiple match of the years, multiple feuds of the year. I mean, selling out Shea Stadium against Larry Zbyszko. One of the biggest. Definitely one of the most recognizable stars in his heyday, and a true Hall of Famer. So yeah, I'll be that guy. I mean, whether or not we rank him super high, when it comes to the actual rankings, is one thing. As far as our personal, how much we've seen of him and whatnot. But I think if you got a list like this, you kind of have to have Bruno on it. So, Richie, what do you think about Bruno Sammartino?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of said it. Like, I haven't seen a lot of his matches, obviously, but like, yeah, given his resume and like how like over he was, and sort of beloved in the wrestling business, and with fans at the time, I think he does belong on this list. So I would definitely say yes.
Yeah, JPO, what do you say about Bruno?
You talk about Bruno?
That's a movie thing, right? I don't watch movies. No, that's a definitely another big yes as well. I was focusing. I forgot at one point I had a lot of '80s people say, "Oh yeah, I got to think about going into the '80s," because his heyday is kind of a little more in the '70s. But yeah, no, I think again, that legendary reign, and again before Hogan, he's kind of the guy carrying the company for a little while as well, in the more just kind of house show packed heyday. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Mr. Cameron, what do you say about Bruno Sammartino?
I mean, this is another yes from me. A good friend of mine, he has a YouTube channel, Phil Talks Sports. He is Italian, and he often tells me the story of like how revered like Bruno Sammartino is amongst like Italian Americans. Like when you get a meeting with the Pope, you're over. So yeah, he's going on the list.
All right, and Mr. Cameron, or not Mr. Excuse me, Mr. Barber, the other Jacob tonight. What do you say about Bruno Sammartino?
Who? No. Just because I haven't seen much of his stuff, that doesn't mean that I can't disrespect the legacy that he has. He obviously held that title as long as he did for a reason, and so yeah. I mean, when you think of '80s and before, like Bruno's one of those names that comes to mind. Whether or not you've actually seen a lot of his in-ring work, which I have. I've seen a couple things here and there, and I liked what I saw. So I do want to go back and see some more of it. But yeah, it's going to be another clean sweep.
All right, so we got
Richie. Are you going for David Sammartino?
Well, we'll find out because yes, Richie, it is your turn. We're 5 for 5 on the clean sweep so far, with 5 people making the list: Macho Man, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Roddy Piper, and Bruno Sammartino on the list so far. So we're back around to you, sir. What's your next nomination?
Well, yeah, I think it's This is before his time, so I'm not going for his son, but I'll definitely go for his dad because he was, at one point, like one of the biggest stars of the '80s, which is, point of this. I'm gonna go Dusty Rhodes, baby, Dusty Rhodes.
That's Cody's dad.
Shit, really? Oh damn.
Damn, really? Okay, yeah. Son of Oklahoma.
I mean, I see the resemblance in the sunken eyes. I mean, I figured there had to be something to that.
One of like the best promos still in business. Like people in one of the best people to kind of imitate, which is ironic because often imitated, never duplicated. But yeah, I can't really do a Dusty impression, as you can see. But like. Yeah, he didn't as he's a dude as well. Didn't really have that superstar like look, that kind of that cliche, that traditional sort of look. He kind of defied convention, but he was still in it, but he was managed to still get over. Still had good matches, and less said about polka dots Dusty when he got to more your NWA WCW Dusty is endlessly entertaining. So. I'll go Dusty Rhodes.
Dusty Rhodes. All right, JPO, what do you say about The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes.
I feel like Richie went Italian. To me, Dusty Rhodes.
It's a bit Dusty. The spaghetti and meatball.
First of all,
We're talking about hard
Polka Dot
times.
Dusty was fun. Polka Dot Dusty was fun. So yeah, I'll leave that alone. But I would upload my Dusty Rhodes photo, but he didn't look up, so the photo's just me and like a dude in a cowboy hat. Like you couldn't necessarily tell. Like he might be like, "That's not fucking him." No, I swear it's him. Random cowboy.
You just pointed to a random old guy, didn't you?
I didn't know. I wish he had looked up. It would have been a nice photo. But no, that's another big yes. If you hadn't done it, there's a good chance I would have this next round. My next round here in a second here. Again, the characters there, the average everyman, the American Dream, with the put your hand to the screen. That's such good shit here. I remember buying his DVD set, and even more than the matches, I just enjoyed the promos. Like he's such a good promo. But the matches there too between Flair and Harley and everything. So yeah, big yes.
All right, Mr. Cameron, what do you say about the American Dream?
I mean, yeah, that's another one that's a resounding yes from me. Like the Hard Times promo, like among many others, just like one of the greatest to ever do it on the mic. But he's another one that he was not just a promo. Like he could go really well as well. I mean, Starrcade 85, the match that he had with Ric Flair, the Dusty finish is not great, but everything leading up to it was fantastic. And I kind of low-key defend like polka dot era Dusty because he was like at least doing things. Like it wasn't like he wasn't just jobbed out. And I also contend that Dusty wore like robes and hats and other ridiculous things in the NWA. So I don't know, maybe it's just me, but regardless, long answer, Dusty is a yes.
All right. Other Jacob, Mr. Barber, what do you say about Dusty Rhodes?
Yeah, I mean, he, for the guy his size, I think he worked pretty well in the ring. And yeah, on the mic, like if we were doing, a ranking of best talkers, like he'd be pretty high up on that list. So yeah, I think he kind of had it all. And then even from a booking standpoint, I think he booked pretty well too. So yeah, Dusty. I think we'd have some hard times if Dusty didn't make the list.
Yeah. No, it's going to be, a big yes for me as well. Dusty was one of those guys who, wouldn't, if you lined up all the biggest stars of the 80s, he's the one that kind of doesn't look like everybody else. One of these does not belong like the others. But I think that's what's great about him is he was unique. He wasn't like the cut, handsome guy like a Ric Flair or the big bodybuilder, like Hogan or whatever. But, that's why everybody loved him. He was kind of the everyman, but he could keep up with them. He did his thing. Yeah, surprisingly, you watch like the matches with Flair, they're like 30-minute matches, and he's rolling with Flair and he's keeping up with him. It's great. And one of the great talkers of all time and a great baby face. So you gotta have to go Dusty Rhodes. I'll say yes. So Dusty Rhodes will be another clean sweep here. JPO, what's your next nomination here for this list?
Let's go with still a guy that's talked about still to this day as just the number one attraction at the time, Andre the Giant. I think obviously belongs on this list here. HBO documentary a couple years ago celebrating his life here. Just a spectacle to watch here. Obviously towards the late 80s, early 90s, he's definitely way slower down, but still, even if you don't love the match, the moment at WrestleMania 3 has come up and still, to that point and everything here. So an icon for sure, Andre.
Yeah, Jacob Cameron, what do you think about Andre the Giant?
I mean, yeah, that's another yes. I mean, like Andre is Andre. I mean, like there will never be another wrestler like him in terms of aura, in terms of just like there'll just never be another one like him. So yes.
All right, Mr. Barber, what do you think about Andre?
I think he's got big hands. Have you seen him hold a beer can? It's gone. You can't see the beer can.
Or put his fist around all of Bob Uecker's neck,
right?
At WrestleMania.
Or his hand just completely engulfing Mean Gene's face.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the guy was an attraction.
It did kind of look like this.
Yeah, just pick him up.
Yeah, I mean, again, I mean, I feel like this list is pretty. It's pretty.
Well, like JB said, I think this was going to be the easy one to ease us into the series. It might get a little more contentious once we get to the 90s and the 2000s. Like it might get a little more debatable, once we get there. But
we're talking about wrestling on the internet. Of course, it's going to get.
Of course, it is. Yes.
I mean, maybe we'll get some debate once there's like 2 or 3 spots left, but
yeah,
right now I feel like there's a lot of clean sweeps because Andre's getting a yes from me as well.
It's a big resounding yes for the eighth wonder of the world. Yeah, I mean, he was an attraction, and we're talking even again, like JPO said, not just the '80s, but before. If you go back and look at his stuff from the '70s, he was amazing when he can move, and he was like the Big Show when he was early in WCW, like running all over the place, jumping on everybody. I mean, when Duke could move, he was great as well. But yeah, still an attraction in the '80s, still a big star, still a draw. If you were in a feud with him, it really elevated you. And yeah, the whole who can slam Andre was always kind of a big thing. No, 100%, he was still a gigantic star. And like you said, Cameron, kind of nobody's there's never really been anybody like Andre, even to this day, just from an attraction standpoint. So yeah, big yes. Richie.
A couple of years ago, I got Andre the Giant Funko Pop thing for my birthday, and Dad not thinking, he goes, "Oh, you should just keep it around. You should keep it around. You might get it signed." And I'm like, I don't think that'll happen.
I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately.
He's like, "Oh yeah." But Andre, you said it all. He's an attraction, and he's just there's never going to be like a force quite like Andre. I think. He was one of the biggest stars outside of wrestling. You ask your mum, you ask your dad, even if they weren't wrestling fans, they know who Andre the Giant is. And that's maybe whether it be Christmas Bride or even just wrestling, because he was just that larger, not part larger than life human, even the personality wise as well. He just had that kind of that charisma that you can't even describe. It's just that sort of that unique charisma about him as well. So so absolutely yes.
All right, well, Andre the Giant, another clean sweep. 7 spots down, 5 spots to go. Mr. Cameron, you want to try to get that number 8 spot here? What do you got?
So I propose one of Ric Flair's greatest rivals. Dusty's already been brought up, so I'm going to bring up Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Even in the early 80s where he was teaming with Jay Youngblood, he was really good. And then you move into the mid 80s when he was doing his thing. And then the late 80s with Savage and Mania 3. And then he would go back to WCW and have that trilogy with Ric Flair in 1989. So I propose Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Just one of the greatest baby faces of all time.
Yeah, Mr. Barber, what do you say about the Dragon?
Oh, yeah, I think Ricky Steamboat is amazing. He is one of those few wrestlers from this time period that I've actually went back and watched quite a few of his matches, like the ones that Jacob was mentioning. Feels like I'm talking about myself in the third person. That's weird. But
Jimmy likes what he sees. Jimmy likes what he expects. You Seinfeld fans out there.
But Jacob says.
Jacob says some pretty good stuff, actually.
Yeah.
No, I think Ricky Steamboat is just amazing in ring. Great baby face. And so I'm gonna give him a yes.
Yeah, no, I'm a massive Ricky Steamboat fan. The more and more I see of the guy, the more he's becoming one of my favorite wrestlers ever. He could have a great match with anybody. A phenomenal babyface, one of the great sellers I think ever. Which is why whoever he worked, he could sell his ass off, right up there with guys like Ricky Morton and whatnot, getting that sympathy. I mean, kind of ahead of his time a little bit with some of the moves he would do, some of his quickness. Again, a guy who just didn't. You never see him blown up either, much like Flair. He just. Seems like those guys could just wrestle for an hour, no problem. Some of the great matches of all time. When you think about great matches of the 80s, and I think you have to take that into account, I mean, Ricky Steamboat's name is all over, some of the top match of the year candidates and whatnot from the 80s. So I think even from a technical standpoint, he kind of needs to be on this list. Richie?
Yeah, he was probably going to be one of my next picks if it got around to me. And yeah, I love Ricky Steamboat. Just again, like you said, hit of his time, one of the best wrestlers I've seen. Even like back when it comes to like a time when you think, oh, like he shouldn't be as good. Like, but that we're going past the 80s here, but like that feud he had with Chris Jericho, he had no reason to be that good, but fuck, he's still really good. I'm like, what the hell? How the hell are you good?
Like, can he just be a regular signed wrestler at this point and just wrestle, every pay per view? just wrestle everybody on the roster at some point? Because he's amazing.
How the hell you? Yeah, it's like that was like that was it. That blew my mind. I'm like, okay, this is. Oh yeah, but so yeah, he deserves. I think it's probably one of the, in terms of technical wrestling, it's probably one of the better ones. In terms of wrestling, best one to sort of brought up so far, in my opinion. Other maybe Ric Flair, but yeah, so absolutely.
Fuck me, put 2008 Shawn Michaels against 2008 Ricky Steamboat to be a match of the year candidate. My God, like that would have been awesome. They would have had the best match ever.
It may sound like we're talking out of our asses, but like literally that Mania 25 match, like that was the first wrestling show I ever watched, and I'm like, this dude Steamboat looks like my dad, and he is crushing.
He's awesome. He killed. But anyways, JPO, you're gonna make it a sweep here for the Dragon.
Yeah, he's on my list as well here. As you said, technical standpoint, 100% there. Moments of WWF as well. I think easily the Mania match of the 80s is Steamboat and Savage. And then, of course, great stuff in the NWA as well.
All right, so that is our 8th spot going to Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Mr. Barber, what you got for your next nomination, looking for that number 9 slot?
Yeah, so we'll see where this one goes. I'm going to go with Jerry the King Lawler. I think, because I mean it is 80s and before, but I think he's, all the territories that he worked, Jerry Lawler was a name people recognize, and I mean he let's not even get started on that program with Andy Kaufman. I mean that's a reason enough to put him on the list. Come on, guys. It's Jerry Lawler versus Andy Kaufman. That's also just like one of the best feuds of all time. Like when we do top 12 feuds and Jerry Lawler and Andy Kaufman doesn't make it on the list, I will be disappointed. Let's go Jerry Lawler.
Yeah, you know what, Barber? He's on my list. I absolutely say yes to Jerry Lawler. And I think, if you look outside NWA and outside of the prism of that and WWF, King of Memphis, a guy who everybody who rolled through Memphis worked with Jerry Lawler. I mean, there's matches with him versus Randy Savage, versus Ric Flair, versus Terry Funk, versus everybody. I mean, literally, Austin Idol, Billy Graham, everybody. He worked everybody, had great matches with everyone. And was a huge draw. And you have to take in to the fact that the pop culture mainstream attention he drew with that Kaufman feud. I mean, going on David Letterman, still one of the top most talked about TV moments of all time, as far as wrestlers on TV or whatnot, shocking moments, whatever you want to call it. It was huge mainstream attention for wrestling, making it a little more legitimate in my eyes. So that feud was great, and he's on my list, Barbara. So I'm going to say yes to Jerry Lawler. Richie?
Yeah, I have no qualms about putting him on the list. I think, if you look at his resume, definitely outside of the main 2 promotions, I haven't. Obviously, the first time I saw him was like when he came into WWF, early 90s. But if you look at it, obviously the majority of his success was in Memphis and also AWA, but if you look at that, you're like, he definitely deserves to be on this list. And the Andy Kaufman feud alone, that still holds up as probably and as one of the sort of I definitely just a pop culture highlight. It's probably because of that, I think Andy Kaufman's one of the best celebrity involvements in wrestling. He just got inducted into the Hall of Fame. People still talk about that moment. It's one of the best talk about moments in in late night talk show history. So, and I think it definitely helped to kind of evolve the popularity of wrestling as well. And I think Jerry Lawler still wrestling to this day, but I mean, maybe he's going to slow down now. But like up until his recent stroke, was still wrestling. So. And of course JPO has a photo because he has a photo.
Of course he does. He just had to find it real quick.
But yes, I'd say yes.
All right, JPO. Maybe your photo is foreshadowing it there. What do you say about the King? Hey, there he is.
And he's wearing an Andre shirt.
And he's wearing an Andre shirt. So there you go. Can he join Andre on this list? What do you say?
I think it's an interesting choice. I think I'm going to have to agree as well. I think it's also interesting, too, to have outside of WWF and WCW here a guy that kind of controlled kind of just the indies of that time, Memphis, all around the world, a little bit of world class as well. And as Jacob Barber said, too, getting that mainstream with the feud with Andy Kaufman, getting on Letterman and whatnot, one of the most talked about things at the time, not being WWF or NWA, which is pretty cool. So I'll go ahead and say yeah as well.
All right. Mr. Cameron, what do you say about the King?
Yeah, that's a yes from me. I'll throw in the Lawler versus Funk empty arena match into the conversation as just fantastic piece of business. But
even the first 10 minutes where Funk is just yelling at the sky about Lawler is great. Just him Lawler, yelling and cursing, Lawler, you egg-sucking dog. It's great.
But Pez, you touched on it briefly, but it's crazy to think that Lawler never needed to leave Memphis in order to
everybody came to him.
Yeah, exactly. He wasn't in the NWA. He and Jerry Jarrett created Continental. And it was like everybody went there. That's just crazy to think about, especially back where you think of the territories, Mid-Atlantic, World Class, AWA, all these places. There's CWA just churning along.
Yeah. Jerry Lawler is going to make the list here. That is another clean sweep. We have nothing but clean sweeps. No controversy so far, but we are getting down there. We are down to the final three spots. And I'm going to mention a guy who actually we just mentioned a few times, and a guy who traveled all over the world, was an attraction everywhere, including Japan. I'm going to say Terry Funk. Again, if you include 80s before whatnot, a huge star in Japan through the 70s and the 80s, a big time attraction, whether it was a singles guy or with Dory, and literally a guy who traveled every single territory, always wrestled the champion, had great feuds. Like I said, he traveled to Memphis, worked with Lawler. He would travel down to Florida and work with Dusty. He would travel up to New York and work with Pedro. He would work with everybody. He worked everybody all over the place. Was a huge attraction and was a unique wrestler. Even in the late 80s, that stuff with Flair he did, the Great American Bash and whatnot, those feuds were amazing. I'm going to shoot my shot for a guy who was really a worldwide star and worked with damn near everybody. I'm going to say Terry Funk. Richie.
Yeah, I had two people in mind to bring up next, and he was one of them. So so that makes my next pick easier. Definitely. As you said, and again, a guy that had a long tenure in wrestling, and has wrestled everywhere, and he just had as well as being a great wrestler, he could he was great at adapting his style over the years. He was a madman, but really just very he's mesmerizing. You couldn't, stop watching his stuff. That feud with Flair. I think we obviously there was that kicked off after the Ric Flair and Sting thing, that match. Well, we saw Funk's heel turn anyway, and that was great. The heel turn, the pile driver through the table is great. And I have a lot of respect and admiration for Terry Funk, and I think that's why it was such. I think his loss. I think that's why it was felt really really hard, because I think he's just one of the more such a beloved legend that kind of spans decades, and he's just really good. Whether it would be hardcore style, whether it be just technical wrestling, whether being a tag team with Dory. So I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, JPO, what do you say about the Funker?
I think he's great. I think he's done a lot of great stuff. If he makes it, I'm fine with it. Because I have a couple people higher. It's the first ever no on the show.
Okay, we got our first no for tonight for the Funker from JPO. Mr. Cameron, what do you say?
Well, I'm going to go with a yes, and I'll throw Terry Funk's name in the ring as probably one of the most selfless wrestlers who ever lived. But I mean, I'll never forget on the Rise and Fall VCW DVD, Paul Heyman talked about how Terry Funk was like, I could work with him. Let me work with him.
I'll make that guy. Yeah, I'll make him a star. Yeah.
So like you said, Pez, like he worked with everybody, like in every territory, in every era, and just that's something that very few people did. People were worried about their spot. Funk was never one of those guys. So I mean, yeah, that's a yes.
All right, Mr. Barber, what do you say about Terry Funk?
Yeah, I'll be honest. Terry Funk's not a guy that I have watched a lot of, but Pez, you convinced me, so I probably would have said yes.
Please tell me you're not learning. Please tell me you had more exposure to Terry Funk other than that match that Pez match, which was like. Was it Terry Funk?
That's that and Beyond the Mat.
Like Norman Smiley
and Ralphus.
Yeah, no. I mean, the 90s are a different story. We're talking about the 80s and before. So, actually, technically, that was
Beyond the Mat.
Wasn't that 2000? That was 2000.
Yeah.
So
there's only exposures to Terry Funk from that. Oh god.
All right. So Terry Funk makes the list, despite the funk you from JPO to Terry Funk. He makes the list. Majority rules here. But yeah, 2 more spots. Richie, can you fill in one of those 2 spots?
All right.
There?
I wonder if it's on his list, or is he going to be a Scrooge again? I don't know. No.
You're allowed to say no on the show.
I know. I'm just being silly because you're the one who said no. So now you're.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go for one of the better characters. Best characters in wrestling. Guy that's still technically, working today. He's on someone's books. I'm gonna go Jake the Snake Roberts. Jacob the Snake, as you will. Another Jacob.
I don't like that.
You don't like that. Oh, yeah. I think, obviously, I want to, again, a very, very, very good talker. There's a reason that he's doing like manager stuff now with Lance Archer. I mean, you could argue they should, that they should be utilized more, but is that? Oh God,
that's got crop weird.
But yeah, and obviously, him coming out with like Damien, but the feud with Macho Man, where the really gnarly, where Damien bit him, but that feud with Rick Rude, which has kind of got really personal. The inventor of the DDT, which if you read up on it, he came up with potentially maybe on accident where he was going for a face lock and fell over, and it just kind of looked cool. And Jake Roberts, I love Jake, and he's it went through a lot of child tribulations, which may have affected his star status, in the long run. But he's come out from it, and I think he is still one of the the kind of best wrestling personalities that we've seen. So I'm gonna go Jake Roberts.
JPO, what do you say about Jake the Snake?
You joked about it before. Hey, there we go.
All right.
But I'm going to be a Scrooge and say no. I like him a lot. I have a couple that I think he's a great promo. I think there's a couple others that had a little more main event impact than I'm going for.
All right. Mr. Cameron, what do you say about Jake the Snake?
I am going to say yes. And I think what tips it over, because Richie, that was actually going to be my choice if it ever came down to me. But but I love his promo that he did for WrestleMania 6 where he faced Ted DiBiase, where he was like wallowing in the muck of avarice. And I'm like, I just love that promo so much. And like in-ring stuff, yeah, I mean, I can see where JPO is coming from, but just he was so good at like the DDT on the concrete floor with Ricky Steamboat at one of the early Saturday night's main events, and Steamboat just sold it like he died, and like he had to literally be like dragged into the ring. It's stuff like that, like the little intangible stuff that just like throws it over the top for me.
All right. Well, got 2 yeses and a no so far. Mr. Barber, what do you say about Jake the Snake?
I say it's up to you, Pez, because I'm gonna say no. Like, yeah,
Right.
I get where Richie's coming from, but like JPO, like he's a great talker, but like, yeah, his in-ring stuff, it's never something that I was like, oh, I'm gonna go back and watch that Jake the Snake Roberts match. I will say I'm gonna go back and listen to that Jake the Snake Roberts promo, but like for me, I just don't think it's enough of both personally, and maybe that's just me not seeing a lot. So I mean, I guess unfairly, I have to say no. But who knows? Maybe I'll watch some more of his stuff, come back, and be like, hey, I was wrong.
All right. If it's down to me, I'm going to be a Scrooge and give it the first no of Rankum. I'm going to say no to Jake the Snake. I think there are stars I still have on my list that were bigger stars that made more of an impact on the wrestling world as a whole, especially if we're talking about 80s and before. Got a few other guys that made a bigger impact than him. I think the Snake Pit has always been kind of an inferior Piper's Pit, maybe a hot take. I think Piper's Pit was a little more dynamic. I get
rewatched that one that he did with Kamala, Kimchi.
Yeah, I've seen them all, but again, I think the shtick was kind of the same every time. I don't think there was a lot of differences each time. I don't think he was that particularly great of a worker. I think he had good psychology. I think he was just kind of an okay worker. I mean, he's got longevity on his side, but I don't even think he became that big of a star till like the very late 80s, like the tail end of the 80s and the early 90s. So, and I just don't think he had much of an impact before then. So I'm going to say no to Jake the Snake. Sorry, Richie.
That wasn't his fault. His dad was an absolute monster.
Cool. That has nothing to do with whether or not he was the greatest on this list. I don't see how that has any impact on whether
I'm just saying he was a referee for some of that time because it was a
cool. And I've ref for Jake Roberts. I ref for him in Orlando yeah, I ref for him, but I mean, yeah, I didn't talk to him that much. I walked into the locker room to go talk about the match. He just went like this to signal the DDT, and I went, okay, and walked away. And that's all it was. So it was a squash. What are you gonna do? So I'm gonna say no. So Jake the Snake does not make the list. We still have 2 spots left. JPO, what you got?
All right.
No.
No.
Sorry. There you go. Go ahead. I'm joking.
It's
not your turn. It's not your turn, Richie. It's JPO's turn.
You good?
Yeah, I'm fine.
I'm gonna go for Harley Race. I think he's another guy that just absolutely owned for his time period here. Very memorable here. Kind of like Dusty had a bit of a different run in the WWF, but I think still had some good spots in the WWF. But I think it's very memorable. A little bit of a sign in the Iron Claw movie here, and again, just a great NWA champion. That was at the top of this game for a little while there. Real man's man, Harley Race.
All right, Mr. Cameron, what do you say about Harley Race?
Yeah, I'll go yes on that one. He's like Harley Race had like great matches with like Superstar Billy Graham and the Flair match he had in '83 at the first Starrcade. That was another really good one. I love the promo he cut where he put the bounty on Ric Flair's head and he's like, Kabuki, I know you're looking for this money. Like, I love that promo so much. So yeah, Harley Race gets a yes.
All right, Mr. Barber, what do you say about King Harley Race?
I was about to say we've got one king on the list. Why not have another?
Sure.
I'm going to say yes to Harley Race. Yeah, I think in-ring promo work. I mean, guy can do it all. Yeah, he's had classic matches with some pretty good guys. So Not a guy I'm super familiar with, but like what I've seen of his, I've really enjoyed. I'll add a lot more to the discussion once we get into the '90s and the 2000s.
Fair
But for
enough.
now, I'll just be mostly agreeable.
Okay. No, JPO, you took my pick, actually. If it swung around to me all the way, I don't know if it was going to because only 2 picks left. No, I was going to give love to Harley Race because we talk about the guy, Bruno Sammartino, carrying the WWF in the 70s. Harley Race was the guy in the NWA in the 70s. He is the guy who carried the NWA in the 70s. He made that title a really big deal, a true worldwide title as well, traveling all over the place, defending that belt. And yeah, even into the 80s, he's the guy who kind of was the dude who passed the torch to Ric Flair, Starrcade '83. That cage match, it was kind of really like kind of handing over that NWA title to Ric Flair to kind of the next generation and whatnot. And still a draw in the 80s as well. His Starrcade '83 entrance, by the way, is great because no music. He just comes out, steps through the curtain, and just stares at the crowd, and they boo the shit out of him. It's great. And he had that kind of heat.
Jacket.
It was amazing, yeah, with that mustache. Oh, it's fantastic. No, Harley Race was one of the true draws. Again, we're talking about people who kind of paved the way for everybody else. Yeah, I think you have to include Harley Race on that list. Yeah, he was going to be my next pick. So good on you, JPO, for scooping enough from under me. That's fine. I'm fine with that. But yeah, Richie, what's about Harley Race?
I wanted to say no because I preemptively said no just because you're being a heel. I can't because he was also on my list. So fuck you. You took away the glory I would have had by going no, that's fine. Harley Race is great. He was great in the Iron Claw. That was him, right?
The guy that they got as opposed to the Ric Flair guy, the guy who got to play Harley was great.
Yeah, I know.
He was fantastic.
There was so much like him that I thought it was him.
No, they even had the voice down and everything. Yeah, the cadence, everything. So yeah, kudos to whoever played him in the Iron Claw. Yeah, just don't get that Ric Flair guy to do the please do not get somebody else.
that guy hasn't heard of Ric Flair until he got that wrong.
But everybody else in the movie, the guy who played Ric Flair, the guys who played the Freebirds are great. Everybody else is great, like in that movie. Looks like, sounds like everything, but
absolutely for all the reasons you said. Harley great and great dubbing it, but yeah.
Okay. All right, clean sweep for Harley Race. We have one spot left. That was the number 11 spot. Number 12, final spot. Let's see what happens if it starts to get controversial. If we have another maybe obvious pick we haven't touched on yet, we'll see. Mr. Cameron, it's on you. What you got? Can you close it out here?
Well, I will certainly try.
Virgil.
No, the Olive Garden's closed right now.
Coco beware. Coco beware. Come on.
Mr. T.
It's funny that you bring up the Iron Claw because I was going to. I don't know if I can include multiple or I'll just choose one of the brothers. But if I was forced to choose one of them, I'll go Kerry Von Erich. But I'd like to include all of them if I could, because in Texas, their rivalry against the Freebirds was just phenomenal stuff. Even in the thing that started it off, and that Christmas Day cage match against Ric Flair, where it was Kerry in the cage and Michael P.S. Hayes was the ref, and it was the whole miscommunication there, and Terry Gordy, rest in peace, slams the door in Kerry's face. I don't know. There's something about that. I love that finish. And Kevin, Kerry, and David, they just worked so well together. And so I don't know if I can include all of them, or if I'm forced to pick one, I'll just go Kerry.
Okay, yeah, we'll go with Kerry here and see what happens. Kerry Von Erich, Jacob, what do you say?
I'm not sure because again, it's not a guy that I've went back and watched a lot of his stuff. Obviously, I know the history and the movie, but I haven't gone back and watched a lot of it for myself. So unfortunately, it's more like an abstain, but I guess it also counts as a no.
Okay. Yeah, I'm torn on this one because he was on kind of my maybe list. If somebody could convince me, because I did do a little research on some of these guys, deciding on who to put on my list. Kerry, he was the biggest star in Texas, that's for sure. the match with Flair, at Texas Stadium, big deal. He went over to Japan and was kind of a big star in All Japan and New Japan, although not as big of a star as a guy like Terry Funk, I would argue, or even Stan Hansen to a degree. And he traveled a little bit, but I kind of feel like he was just a Texas guy. And even, he was a star, but I feel like the star was kind of limited to Texas. And he was a good worker, but again, not a super charismatic worker. It's going to be the slightest of no's for me for Kerry Von Erich. We'll see what happens. But if he makes the list, I'm okay with it. Richie?
I was worried he was going to come up because I'm sort of in the same position. I'm like, maybe I don't know, because he was someone I had considered. But yeah, I'm sort of the same kind of same thought process where he was a huge star in Texas, and had memorable moments. But yeah, I think sort of around I don't know if he. But then I don't know. I mean, I guess there's probably someone I'm missing that might, maybe fit the bill of the last slot better, but I can't think at the moment. But I might go opposite of Pez and just go slight yes, but yeah, if he doesn't, I'm cool with it too. But yeah.
All right, it is split. JPO, it comes down to you. Yes or no for Kerry Von Erich?
I was going to nominate him next. I'm going to go yes.
Okay.
I think there was that kind of peak in Texas where they were like a boy band, man, and he also has the NWA World Title run. Yeah, I think he should go on. I think he's another representative of a huge pop in wrestling. Yes, it was Texas Center, but he was still kind of it was still that was a thing, though.
All right, so he just squeaks in there 3-2. The final one to just eke in there, Kerry Von Erich at number 12. And that is going to be the list for tonight. All our spots are now filled. Before we go around and start individually ranking this list, we will go around as Malcolm does as well. Any honorable mentions you might have brought up? Had it got it back around to you, Richie? Any honorable mentions you might have brought up?
I mean, you mentioned Stan Hansen, but I don't think many people would have seen some of the stuff. Tito Santana. Rock and Roll Express if we're going to tag teams, but maybe if we're just doing individual.
We'll do tag teams later. We'll come back around to that. Yeah.
Probably Sting, but I would argue that he kind of hit a stride in the 90s.
Yeah, he's more of a 90s guy.
But yeah, it's pretty much Ted DiBiase. I think those are kind of the main ones really I can think of. But yeah, so that'd be my honorable. But I think we got most of the ones.
Yeah. JPO, any honorable mentions you would have brought up? I got back around to you.
Yeah, Richard mentioned a couple of them. I actually was going to maybe argue Sting as well. I do think he's at least having main events by the late 80s and he's coming to his own. Iron Sheik, I think, is worthy of bringing up. You know what I mean? Big time heel, kind of, again, right on that cusp of kind of before pay-per-views and everything, being a big star. Ted DiBiase, also such a great character in the late 80s as well. As a really good worker from Mid-South as well. Junkyard Dog, I think, is worth of bringing up as well. He was really popular, super popular in the mid-card, never quite got that number one shine. And, those are the kind of other ones in my mind.
All right, Mr. Cameron, any honorable mentions?
Bruiser Brody was one that immediately came to mind. I just had his face in my head. Shoot. Honky Tonk Man, I would have at least floated his name out there. Sound like they would have been as popular as the Brawl for All, but I would have thrown his name out there. Ultimate Warrior is another one. I would have floated Bret Hart's name out there too. I know he's.
I'd say no to that for the 80s. I'd get maybe yes for the 90s.
80s, no.
No, he's a tag team guy for the 80s, and not even that big of a tag team guy.
He's Cowboy Bret Hart, my partner.
Yeah.
No, it's normal bred by the
I think you bring that up in the 90s when we get to that. I think you got a
Of
strong
course.
argument.
Oh, he's a
absolutely.
shoe-in for the 90s.
Oh, for sure. But
Yeah.
80s,
Still
I'd
doing
probably
good.
say no with context.
Tag teams as losing battle royals. Yeah.
Mr. Barber, any honorable mentions you might have brought up?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the people already mentioned. Bob Backlund is one that I probably would have brought up next had Kerry Von Erich not made it. And then, yeah, like several of them have already been mentioned. I won't re-mention them.
All right. I might have been, again, that historian guy that would have brought up maybe Pedro Morales being the first Triple Crown champion and a pretty big, lengthy star, kind of the guy who made the Intercontinental title sort of what it was. So, a pretty big draw and Hispanic wrestler as well. I could have made an argument for Nick Bockwinkel, although I don't know how far that would have gotten, unless you've actually seen him or heard much about him. But he carried the AWA and a lot of those territories for a little while in the 80s. Superstar Billy Graham for influence. A lot of people took a lot of stuff from Billy Graham, later, and a lot of people have cited Billy Graham as an influence as far as character-wise, promo-wise. And again, a guy who feuded with just about everybody. Bruiser Brody was on my list as far as that style of wrestling and whatnot. And if you go to Japan, you can make an argument for Antonio Inoki for maybe being the biggest star in Japan, and the crossover stuff with Ali is as bad as that match is, a lot of mainstream attention and whatnot. So, and kind of a guy who really got a lot of wrestling going in Japan. So you can make an argument there. But having said that, we are now at the ranking portion as Malcolm does over on Rankum. So what we're going to do is write down our answers here as far as we'll start at the number 12 spot and you guys will vote and we'll see what we got here. Hopefully we don't have any 5-way ties. Otherwise we might have to actually spin a wheel or something like that. I might have to have one on standby, but we'll see what happens here. Vote for who you think goes on the number 12 spot. I'll run down the list just one more time. It's also in the private chat if you need to refer to it. We got Macho Man Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Roddy Piper, Bruno Sammartino, Dusty Rhodes, Andre the Giant, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Jerry Lawler, Terry Funk, Harley Race, and Kerry Von Erich in there as well. So we'll write down our answers here and get going, and we'll start in the same order as we started the show. Richie, number 12.
Yeah, give me a sec.
Sure.
Kerry Von Erich.
Kerry Von Erich. JPO.
Terry Funk.
Terry Funk. Mr. Cameron. Kerry. Barber.
I don't have anything to write with, but I was going to go with Kerry.
Okay, you can just say your answer. I'm also going to go with Kerry at number 12. So that is a definitive Kerry Von Erich for number 12. Let me jot that down on my little banner here. All right. So he made the list, but just at number 12 there, we are going to go Kerry Von Erich. So he is off the table now. Number 11, we will start once you're ready, JPO.
Terry Funk.
Terry. All right, Mr. Cameron.
Harley.
Barber.
Terry.
I'm really glad I got him on the list, but even then, I would say some of these other stars are bigger, so I'll also go Terry Funk. Richie.
I said Harley Race.
Harley Race. Okay, so close, but 3 votes for Terry Funk will get him in at number 11, as he is now off the board. All right, I'm going to mark them off my personal list here. So Terry Funk and Kerry Von Erich off the table as we are going to number 10. And we will start with Mr. Cameron. Whenever you're ready, no rush. But Harley. Barber.
Jerry.
Jerry. Okay. I'll go Harley Race for this one, but I'm glad he made the list. Richie?
Yeah, I do that thing where I erase my board, knowing that damn it, I'm going to write the same thing. Harley Race.
Okay. Anyone want to pull Malcolm tonight and run it from the table, JPO?
Jerry Lawler.
Okay. Harley Race makes the list at number 10 here. So Harley Race, number 10. There we go. Harley Race at number 10. All right. Going to number 9 here. And we will start with Mr. Barber.
Jerry.
Yeah, I'm okay going 2 kings back to back. Let's go Jerry the King Lawler. Richie?
Jerry the King Lawler.
JPO?
Yeah, Lawler.
King and Mr. Cameron.
Peer pressure, Jerry.
Okay. No, I think it's a good spot for him. He did a lot, but yeah, a couple people maybe bigger stars here. But Jerry Lawler will slide in at number 9.
Now's where it gets tough.
Yeah, and here's where it starts to get interesting. I think we got some of our kind of maybe ones where it might be just depending on the order where they go. But now we get into the big time stars here, so we'll see what happens. I think it can go anywhere. Let me write something real quick before I go to myself. Let me look at the list. All right. Pez, what do you have? I'll do Ricky Steamboat at number 8. Richie.
With simpatico, Ricky Steamboat.
Ricky Steamboat, JPO.
Really, guys, I can't believe you're Ricky Steamboat.
Ricky Steamboat, okay. Jacob.
Andre the Giant.
Andre, Mr. Barber.
I was gonna go Bruno.
Okay. But with 3 votes, the Dragon in at number 8. Ricky Steamboat. Well, again, I'm kind of going with like influence and star power here. A little.
No. I'm
with the rest of the list.
Promos, man. Main event, never main event.
Yeah.
That's what drags you down.
One of the best in the ring ever? Yeah, absolutely. But you got to go all around. You got to go some more factors here. So, no, I get it. Let me write down my next one here. All right. But we are going to Richie. What do you have at number 7? What do you think?
Roddy Piper.
JPO.
I have Bruno.
Bruno. Mr. Cameron.
Let's go Andre again.
Andre Barber.
I'm gonna stick with Bruno.
Okay, and I'm gonna go Piper. So the only person who didn't vote for Piper or Bruno is Mr. Cameron. You are the deciding one. Is it gonna be Piper or Bruno?
Bruno. Bruno
at number 7. All right. And Martino at number 7. All right, there we go. Bruno Sammartino, number 7. Going to number 6. And we will start with, I believe, JPO. Am I right? Yeah. All right. I just want to make sure. Andre, Mr. Cameron.
Third time's the charm, Andre.
Andre, Mr. Barber.
I'll go Andre.
Andre, I'll stick with Piper. Richie.
Well, I guess I'm sticking with Piper for another round.
Okay. But Andre the Giant, the 8th wonder of the world, is going to be number 6 on here. The 8th wonder of the world.
6th wonder of the world.
6th wonder of the world here on Rankum. That's right. But Andre the Giant will make number 6 tonight. There you have it right there. Going to number 5. And we will go to give everybody a second if you want to change your answers here. A couple of you guys had Andre there. Mr. Cameron will be up next.
Rowdy
Barber.
Yeah, I think this is a good spot for Piper.
Yeah, I'll stick with Hot Rod, and seems like it's going to go that way, Richie.
Roddy Piper.
JPO, are you simpatico with us or somebody else? Rowdy, all right, Roddy Piper.
Rowdy Ronda Rousey, what?
Yeah, Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Rousey, all right. All right, Roddy Piper in at number 5, and we are into the top 5 here, going to number 4. And just a quick reminder of what we have left, just for these top 4. 4 stars left. We got Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, and Randy Savage is who is still on the table to pick from those. So give you guys a second if you need to parse that out. Dusty, Savage, Hogan, and Flair left on the table. And I believe, are we at Mr. Barber now? Yes.
Dusty.
That's where I'm going. Dusty. Richie.
Dusty Rhodes, baby.
Dusty Rhodes. JPO.
Dusty.
Dusty. Cameron.
If you will.
All right, clean sweep for Dusty at number 4. Okay.
This one.
Yeah, only 3 left here. Dusty Rhodes going in at number 4. Check the comments real quick. Somebody saying good night to you, JPO. Good night, everyone. Good night to you. Good night, everyone. Good night to you. Thanks for watching. All right, going to number 3, the top 3 Savage, Hogan, Flair, all household names. I am going to go. Oh, I should probably write something down real quick. I was doing banners. My apologies. Sorry about that. Trying to do multiple things. Macho Man, Savage, Richie.
Yeah, it was tough, but I went Randy Savage as well.
Randy Savage, JPO.
This is Ric Flair.
Ric Flair, Jacob.
Hulk.
Hulk, and Barber.
Oh, I was going Macho Man.
Okay, Macho Man with 3 votes will be number 3. Randy Savage. All right. And as it is with Rankum, we are in the top 2 now, so your final vote will be for who you think is number 1. So it's either going to be Hulk Hogan or Ric Flair for number 1 of this list. You are not voting for number 2. You are voting for number 1. I give everybody a second to get their votes in for their number 1 to round out top 12 Rankum 80s and before. We are back to the start. Richie, number 1.
Hulk Hogan.
Hogan. Oh, like the Miller Catfight girl said it. Hogan. Hogan.
Hogan.
JPO. Hogan. Cameron.
Flair is number 1.
Barber.
Oh, we'll see, because I'm also going Flair.
In my heart, it's Flair. In my brain, it's Hogan. He was the biggest draw. So it's going to be Hulk Hogan. He was the face of wrestling in the 80s. I hate to say it. He just kind of was. So, yeah. Sorry, I meant to hit edit on that one. So I can
wasn't top 12 biggest draws. It's top 12 wrestlers. Okay.
It's stars.
Yeah.
Wrestlers include star power as well. So... Well, that's where it's going to get contentious in the 90s and 2000s, I think, and it gets a little tricky. But yeah, we have our list together. I'll run it down with the banners as I'm completing them here. All right, that's going to do it for tonight. For JPO's suggestion of this new series, we're going to get started here with Rankum on the Lonely Marks. At number 12, we got Kerry Von Erich. Number 11 tonight, Terry Funk. Number 10, Harley Race, King Harley Race, because we also have a number 9, Jerry the King Lawler coming in. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat at number 8. Number 7, Bruno Sammartino. Number 6, the 8th Wonder of the World, Andre the Giant. Number 5, top 5, Roddy Piper. Number 4, Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream is real at number 4. Number 3, the Macho Man, Randy Savage. At number 2, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. And at number 1, Hulkamania is running wild all over this list because it is Hulk Hogan at number 1. There you have it. That is going to do it for this special edition of Rankum here on the Lonely Marks. Yes, don't adjust your TV sets, ladies and gentlemen. We just did Rankum on the Lonely Marks. As
Don't worry,
by JPO.
Jacob. If you're a big Ric Flair fan, you can vote for him in the 90s, the 2000s, 2010s, and 2020s. He made it.
you can keep nominating him over and over. Hey, I would say even in the 90s, he's got a hell of a shot. Even yeah. So you can make the argument there. So yeah, we'll talk about that because JPO, we might come back to this maybe in about a month or another half or so. When we got one of those kind of slower weeks, we could definitely come back to this and jump into the 90s for sure and do another special edition of Rankum. Yeah, we talked behind the scenes that we could definitely do this as sort of a semi-regular thing, maybe about once a month. So, Jacob, throw it back over to you. Thanks for throwing me the reins for this special edition of Rankum. Hopefully, I did an adequate enough job, Malcolm, if you're watching, hosting this one. I picked up a few tips and tricks along the way, and I'm a professional co-host. Is what I do. So, so it's what we do. I think I've got it down at this point. But Jacob, throwing it back to you to wrap us up here.
Yeah, so that's our show. So if you're watching, let us know who some of your favorite wrestlers are from the 80s and before. And let us know who you got this weekend at Backlash. And if you're on the West Coast like me, are you going to watch it at 10 a.m. or are you going to kind of wait a little bit? But yeah, no, we'll be back next week to review the show and talk whatever news has come out since then. But between now and then, Richie, what do you got going on?
Yeah, I mean, and also, I mean, if where I live in Brisbane or Queensland, if you're watching that, Backlash live, let me know how you watched it, and you're a psycho for waking up that early and watching that show at 3 a.m.
I'm just saying, I watched Elimination Chamber live.
Hey, you could have one of those nights where if you're a little insomnia, you're not sleeping too well, and you happen to be up at 3 a.m. I mean, you got something to watch. That's all.
Yeah.
Could happen.
Yeah, man. It does suck that there's it sucks that they don't really have any French stars. You could have had I'd like to see.
Who's to say La Resistance won't make a special appearance? You know what I mean? It could happen.
Maybe a bonus point. La Resistance comes back. No,
kind of like how I predicted Carlito at Puerto Rico. If anybody wants to make a prediction on a French wrestler making an appearance, you can do that for a bonus point.
Does Jacques Rougeau count as Canadian?
Well, so is Rene Dupree, actually.
French Canadian.
Well, yeah. And Sylvain Grenier was.
Well, Rob Conway was a French sympathizer, so I mean, you just look at me.
Yeah. Anyway, you could find me. Yeah, Lenny Monterey.
Let's see who comes up real quick as you're doing your plugs. If I Google most famous French professional wrestler, let's just see who the first name is.
Andre.
I guess, yeah. I mean, but he can't make an appearance, so.
Yeah. Maybe hologram form. But yeah, you tournament fights here. I recorded a Why We Love Horror match. It should be up, soonish with me versus Kevin Poss. And JPO's channel. I'm doing wrestling trivia and movie trivia. Might be on a trivia about the WWE draft, as we have mentioned before. Remember the time when Cena was drafted to Raw and drafted to SmackDown and Raw the same night? That was fun. Yeah. And then I'm doing a CWT match with the same human deal that he's doing. Deal he's doing. So that should be fun. And Jake Cameron's going to be on that as well. So. So to check those out, and I'm around. I'm sure there's stuff I'm forgetting, but I'm around everywhere. So check that out.
There's an article that says 3 French WWE wrestlers who can return for Backlash 2024 in France.
Okay.
So they see former NXT superstar Sylvester Lefort.
He wouldn't make much of an impact. Oh my god. Who's that?
I don't know who that is. Obviously, so number 2, La Resistance. La Resistance, that would be fun if La Resistance, they hit the music and they come out. That'd be at least fun. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, they could have a impromptu match. And Mrs. Wife, Maurice,
yeah. She's had a health scare recently, but I think she's fine. She could probably make it.
Yeah. So that's from the article. There you go. Those are your potentials.
There you go.
JPO, is your money on Sylvester? What's his fuck from NXT showing up in France?
I don't know, but I do have Sylvain Grenier's phone number, so I'm gonna find. I'll get the scoop.
Oh, okay.
Nice. And while you're doing that, what else do you got going on?
Oh, just plugs and parting words. As the aforementioned, Pierce Co. We're finally wrapping up that round 1. It's not my fault, people. Schedules. But we're getting it in the tank here, as well as countdowns and all sorts of fun stuff over that channel. Pierce Wrestling as well. We're still doing shenanigans over there. All our friends, CWT, Malcolm's channel, thanks for letting us borrow Rankum here. We appreciate you. Why We Love Horror. Yeah, you know the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Jacob Cameron, thank you once again for joining us tonight. Where can the people find you?
Find me pretty much everywhere, social media at RyanCam20. Trivia-wise, I'm in a lot of places. I got a big match coming up with Scott Gata. It's more details on that are going to be forthcoming. My YouTube channel is mostly movie stuff. I'm reviewing all the Planet of the Apes movies in honor of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Pez is going to be joining me next week to review The Mummy from 1999, along with my co-host of the Small Talk podcast, Jacob Collins. So yeah, I'm doing a lot. So if you want to follow me, it's at RyanCam20. I'm almost at 500 subscribers, so I want to get there.
Hey, Pez, do you like that movie? Do you think it's right?
It's okay. I mean, I don't know. The second time I saw it this week in theaters, like, I don't know if it worked as well as the first time I saw it in theaters this week. Like, it was passable. It's decent entertainment. It's not quite as good as Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, but it's
It's kind of there.
I mean, I'm a big fan of like the Scorpion King 3 with Randy Couture or shit like that. So, Billy Zane, some of those guys.
Pez, what do you got going on?
No, actually, not that much coming up over the next week. It's mostly just stuff here on the Movie Hero Network, just co-hosting the usual tournament fights, tier ranker fights, all that kind of stuff. Me and Richie might whip up another Wheel of Movies maybe next Wednesday night, something like that. Maybe after I go see a sneak peek of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes that night at 7 o'clock. So they're doing it a day early, so I might go check that out. Then maybe come back and do a little Wheel of Movies with Richie. We'll see. But yeah, no, that's not too much outside of that for now.
Very nice. And yeah, you can also catch me over at CWT, where somehow I am in the finals of the clash against Eric Moreno, a rematch of my Twitch TV title match, which I lost horribly. So I'm looking for revenge. And if anyone is surprised that I'm in the finals, I'm going to join you, because I also did not expect to be there, but I'm glad I am. And then, not much else going on. If you're in the Washington State area, you can catch me doing comedy at the Juice Box every Tuesday. But yeah, no, I mean, other than that, we will be back next Thursday discussing Backlash and whatever else came up during the week. So for my fellow Lonely Marks, Richie, Jordan, Austin, our guest of honor, Jacob Cameron, I am Jacob Barber. This has been the Lonely Marks. Pez, take us out.
And we'll see you next time. Later, everybody.